Caine Riordan felt as much as heard the rough crackle that came through his damaged EVA tether, the only signal still reaching him from the ship. Throat dry, he swallowed and muttered the mantra he revised every half-minute. 120 seconds, then 15 more. Words to live by, literally, because if he wasn't back inside the airlock before then, he'd be dead. Or as good as dead, anyway. In 2 minutes, the inbound solar storm's bow wave would spike. The 15 additional seconds were an estimate on how long it would take for the soaring REM rate to impart a lethal whole-body dose. So every remaining moment had to be spent surveying the blue and tan planet beneath him. The river he needed to study one last time began to emerge from the ink-black crescent that divided night from day. To the south of that meandering line he saw the start of vast flatlands, the only feasible landing zone. He was only partially aware of the other planetary details rotating into view. Multiple hurricanes upon the blue seas, masses of churning charcoal clouds creeping across wastes, curtains of ochre haze marking where sandstorms spun away from the equator. Of the many words with which he and his crew had described the world, hospitable had never been used. But strangely, the most frequent label had been fortunate, since the presence of the planet defied all logic. After multiple misshifts, the ship should have re-expressed as a diffuse spray of high-energy particles in deep space. Instead, it had not only emerged intact and near a star, but above a world with broad oceans and quite possibly a breathable atmosphere. Pandora Veriden, who was typically more rough-mannered than religious, had proclaimed it a miracle. Riordan suspected their deliverance was not due to a deity, but rather some forgotten rescue system left by the ancient and inscrutable intelligences that had preceded the Dornani themselves. Finally, the landing zone edged beyond the Terminator. Riordan folded his left pinky against his palm and blinked twice, hoping the Dornani vac suit was still responding to that command sequence. He sighed in relief as the middle of the helmet's HUD zoomed in and showed the flatlands at 10 times magnification. But the precise area he needed, the point where the river he'd been tracking met an even larger one, was not quite centered. Focusing his eyes on that confluence, he used the same finger and blink combination. The view became murky as it swam inward, then resharpened. Now at an adjusted altitude of 30 kilometers, the image was more grainy, but much more useful. The new, larger river entered from the upper left edge of the magnified view, the northwest, and ran almost straight down to where it exited at the southeast. The tributary he'd seen first ran eastward to meet it.